In the previous episode, we looked into object permanence and how it plays a role as we grow up. In case you haven't heard the previous episode, I highly recommend listening to it and then getting back to this one. It's only about 5 minutes and it will make this episode much more intriguing. Alright, as we know that developing object permanence as an infant helped us with a fundamental skill we need to live our everyday life. But what if I told you that we are now trying to develop object permanence in our cars? What would you say? I know you will say that I am out of my mind or probably daydreaming. But just hold on to this. Just hold on to this thought and let's do a thought experiment and we will get back to object permanence and why we need to develop it in our cars. Okay, let's say you are at a red light and you see pedestrians waiting to cross the street. But now there is this big truck that comes and stops beside you, blocking your view of the pedestrians. Just because as humans we have developed object permanence, we know that there are some pedestrians about to cross even though we don't see them right now. We know at the back of our mind that those pedestrians exist and are just hidden behind the truck right now. So when the light turns green, as a driver, before going ahead, you will wait for the moment until the pedestrians cross the street, or at least until you are sure that they aren't crossing it, even if that means getting honked by the car behind. Now just imagine how a self-driving car might see and interpret this entire situation to make a decision. If it doesn't have object permanence, as we humans have, and the moment the light turns green, it sees that there are no pedestrians. And as the light turns green, it starts driving. And what happens next is boom, an unfortunate accident. So to make a reliable self-driving car, we need our cars to not just see something and react, but to have a memory and fill out things which are not there in its vision at this very moment, but they existed a moment ago. We want our cars to do this by predicting the nature and path of those things, and in this case, those pedestrians. They aren't going to fly away, isn't it? But our cars need to be able to predict that. It needs to know of their existence even though they are not visible. A classic object permanence which we humans have developed, but it operates so seamlessly in the back of our brain that we take it for granted. We might think that autonomous driving is basically using sensors of some type, like cameras, radars, lidars, and then making the car respond to these sensory inputs. I mean, on the surface, this is what we think we all do, right, while driving. We see a car or a human coming and we decide to slow down or speed up or even make a turn. However, as we just saw in this thought experiment, it is not the only thing we do while driving. Our human brain is so much more evolved thanks to object permanence and other such super skills we have, that we have an ability to process tons of things in real time in our brain. And this is one of the reasons why developing a self-driving vehicle is still far away from perfection. I can give tons of examples where while driving we make decisions not because of what we see, but because of how we are trained to see as humans. Many times we just get a glance at something from the corner of our eyes and we paint an entire picture of the object for our brain to perceive and react while driving. An article I read in The Economist says that today's self-driving software platforms don't currently use physical models of the world or include the concept of object permanence to predict the motion of objects that are temporarily hidden behind other objects. However, something I read elsewhere suggests that there are AGI models currently being trained with object permanence to predict the future motion of an object based on its nature. So not to say that autonomous driving is not possible. As every hard problem our human species has faced and a track record to solve successfully, I am sure we will be able to develop object permanence in our cars or find a way around it. Rather, I am more bullish that our cars will drive better than us, as time progresses and technology develops. Because as humans, we can't see in the dark. We sneeze while driving, we use our cell phones, and do many more stupid things, making us prone to accidents. But until we get there, where cars developed object permanence like us, this is your host Mayur Ghadge signing off for now. Be curious, stay tuned.